My first question for you is, can you share with us your experience of coolest projects in the past?
Firstly, no problem. Thanks. It's great to be here and to share with everyone. But my experience with coolest projects started back in 2020 when Telstra Foundation and Code Club Global were promoting coolest projects moving online due to COVID. And I thought it looked like a great opportunity to get involved. I looked into it and really tied into a lot of what we were already doing in class with programming and digital technologies and integrated STEM lessons. So it wasn't like an extra thing, but an incentive and an opportunity for students to share their learning and the projects that they've been working on. So from 2020, having more, with the grade 4 class I was working with, a lot of those students, that was their first independent coding project. So I had mainly Scratch project centered. And then from there, moving into a STEM specialist role, that became course projects became part of what I was teaching. One of my specialist, like elective classes, where at the start of the year, those students were given the opportunity to choose from a range of the course projects categories, games, websites, hardware, and so on. So a key thing that we are focusing on at our school is empowering student agency in all areas, and STEM clearly is a big part of that. So giving students an opportunity and supporting them to create something that they were interested in. So yeah, we had some websites, some games on multiple different platforms, a smart mirror, all kinds of different things. And then taking that a step further last year, where this became part of my teaching and our curriculum for all grade 5, 6 students. So our participation has gone from around 30 students in 2020, probably closer to 20, about 50, 60 in 2021 and 2022, around close to 100, or around 80 to 100. So yeah, last year, mainly focusing around games and Scratch, giving students that opportunity. With the video game projects that we were working on in first time, giving them an opportunity to share that and take some feedback from course projects and apply it to their games, so they're able to improve that before entering another competition with that later on in the year. So I think it's been, a really core part and becoming more of a, really, I guess, engaging, exciting feature of our school year at Montello, that what our students are engaging with. And that's highlighted by last year, 2 of my teams receiving awards as judges' favourites. So I believe they were the first Australians to win that kind of recognition, which had a huge impact on those students and our school culture as a whole. For our kids to have that kind of success in a global competition, that included students of all ages and experiences. So they were pretty blown away by that, and to receive their medals and have them presented in the assembly has been amazing. And going a step further than that, we've had one of those teams will have their game showcased at the Young V&A Museum in England, which for that group, I think that they were more proud of that fact and just blown away by that than the recognition and that reward of receiving a medal. So yeah.
So the steps that you go through as a teacher to get the kids engaged in the challenge, is it difficult?
No, I wouldn't say it's difficult at all. I think it's something that for what we're doing, it isn't an extra thing at all. It's tying into the the digital technologies curriculum and what we're focusing on with engaging our students with that first term project being that they're working collaboratively with a team to design and create their own video game. So in this case, it's not creating any extra steps at all. It's just that fact of, once we come closer to that submission deadline, wherever they're at with their game, that they're being able to answer some questions about that, record it or share a link and submit that to Coolest Projects.
Yeah. I know from looking at the website, it doesn't seem to be like a huge registration process or very laborious in paperwork, as I like to think of it. I think that they make that side of the system really easy. And it's fairly open to who can enter it, isn't it?
Yeah. So I believe any children under the age of 18.
Yeah.
And there's a wide range of categories. So no matter what you're focusing on, up to that point in the year, I'm sure there's a category that, the projects that your students are working on, they're going to be eligible to submit that, whether that's, a hardware project, a website, a game, an app. There's, I'm sure there's something that their project will easily fit into. So, and the great thing is that, it doesn't need to be 100% finished. It's about them being able to share what they've learned and what their ideas are, what their goals are.
The content of the project itself isn't prescriptive, is it? Like, it's not that they have to do something that provides a service for someone or is on a health topic or the environment. It's fairly open, isn't it?
Yeah, completely open.
Yeah.
Obviously, within reason, it has to be appropriate and safe. Those are all really a given, and that's something that obviously we're doing or should be doing in a school anyway.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a little bit more of an incentive for projects that link to like the global goals for sustainable development or that are for community good. So it's not something that they have to do, but there are extra incentives and rewards available for categories that do align with, community need or climate change or things like that. So it's definitely something that would encourage, but it isn't 100% necessary. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. So for this year, for Coolest Projects Global, registration's opened on the 6th of February. So they're open now, and it closes on the 26th of April. So there's still a good 6 weeks that people can get working on a project. Do you think that's enough time if they were just starting now?
I think, yeah, definitely. There's plenty of time. But the key thing really is them being able to share their idea and show what they've learned to get to the point where they're sharing it. It doesn't have to be finished. So, yeah, plenty of time, I would say. And like we've talked about, pretty easy registration process, answering, I think, maybe 3 questions.
Yes, 3 questions. Yeah. What are they? Why did you choose it? What was difficult and how did you work around it? And what would you do differently next time or add it if you had more time?
Yeah.
So
really, 3 or 4 sentences at the most for those. A short video explaining their project, or if it's a scratch project, sharing the link for that. It's, a pretty easy process. And plenty of time. If we're only getting started now, it'd be awesome to see as many Australian entries as possible. Let's set a new record.
Absolutely. We'll aim for that one, I think. So I know lots of teachers, if they're working with kids or even parents working with their own children at home, would have some concerns around the privacy and sharing of projects. What can you share about that side of Coolest Projects?
I think it's great they take into account through that registration process that is done through the teacher's email. So the teacher or mentor or parent is responsible for registering the project. So it's just the mentor, whoever that may be, it's their responsibility and it's just their details. As far as the student project goes, it's just first name, and it's not even the school, for example, doesn't even get mentioned. So it's just their first name, and it will say, from a school in Australia or from a code club in Australia. so really their details are protected.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think, you know, really, is respectful and considerate of student privacy. And as a teacher, as a mentor, you can, yeah, I don't think there's a limit to how many projects you can enter. I haven't hit that yet, and I've put through probably 40, 50 projects last year. So
the finished videos, are they, when do they store them? Is it like YouTube that it sits in, or is it their website?
So so what, it's like embedded a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've uploaded a video onto my YouTube channel, and I've kept those unlisted, but shareable with a link, and then they're just embedded on their webpage.
My biggest fear would be creating the videos. I have a bit of a thing with that. How do you go about that with your students?
So what I've generally done is screen recording. So that's not capturing students' faces. We're just like recording their game on a screen, for example, and they're narrating it. There's some students that aren't comfortable with that, so what we'll do is we'll just put their we could put their narration or their explanation in as text, rather than that. So so obviously that works for a game. With a hardware project, that's going to require actually, you know, recording it and videoing it.
Yeah.
And like, students don't need to show their faces in it if that's something that they're not able to do or not comfortable with. It's about them being able to share their idea and their project.
If I was a first-time teacher coming in wanting to give this a go because I like to try new things, what tips and tricks would you advise me?
I'd say probably don't look at it as like an extra big thing. There are things that, you know, as a, you know, if you're teaching in digital technologies, or if you're just a general class teacher or a code club leader, there's things that you're already doing and that your kids are likely already working on that would be eligible to enter. So not trying to, you know, go overboard and turn it into something bigger than it needs to be. There's plenty of things that, you know, that students are able to share. I think giving them opportunities to be able to choose, if you're able to give them you know, some options with what categories they might want to enter, for example. And you know, there's plenty of resources and tutorials and things available, like through Code Club, or plenty of things online that can help get kids started and down the path to creating their own project and sharing that. So,
from a student's point of view, what of your past students who've engaged with it, what do they think of the whole process?
I think they enjoy the fact that they're creating this one project, they're working on this one project, and it gives some logical timelines. I know what we're doing with looking at it from creating a video game. It gives them a bit of a soft deadline to have their game in a playable state and ready to share by the end of first term and early second term. That they're able to get some feedback from that and be able to share their game with the world. They're able to play other people's games or look at other people's projects, get some inspiration from that. Obviously, looking at what each other's done, pretty powerful. That you know, absolutely priceless seeing the look on our students' faces when they watched the recording of the live stream when their games were announced judges' favorites last year. That's just, yeah, pretty incredible moment to see when they actually realize, and to see everyone, all their classmates cheering. And obviously it's not about, you know, winning. What you learn is more important than what you win, but that they know that, you know, that they have an extra opportunity to do that and to gain that recognition, which has further inspired my students this year to participate. So it's become part of what we're doing. But always a great thing for kids when it's just that one project that they can enter into multiple things.
Yeah,
they're just working on this one main thing that they're entering into coolest projects. Then later in the year, entering that into the National STEM Video Game Challenge. So, that's always a bonus when it's given that opportunity to refine and develop that one thing and not, many different projects at the same time. So I know there's plenty of other things like for hardware. There's many engineering and invention challenges as well that they'll be eligible to enter. Young ICT explorers, could be one of them. But it does give them an opportunity to get some feedback from the judges beforehand and be able to pitch that and share their work earlier than what they might be for any of the other opportunities and challenges and events they might be in at a later time, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I was reading up on the rules today, and they've said that you can resubmit the same project the following year if you've made substantial changes to it because you've worked on it and improved on it. I think that's fantastic if kids have stuck with their project, that they truly believe in it and have kept going and they can use it again.
I think that's a great example of the engineering design process where they're able to, they've applied that feedback that they might have received from judges last year or from learning that's been continuing to happen. Maybe last year or when they previously entered that project it wasn't finished. Now they're able to finish it and test it, being able to share what they've learned since then. Responding to that question, one of those last questions, if you had more time, I believe, was that one? If you had more time, what would you do differently? Or
if you had more time, what would you add or what would you do differently?
Yeah, so they can reflect on that and share what's been able to change and improve. I think that's an awesome part of this showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the key word, isn't it? It's a showcase. It's not a competition and we're aiming for first place. It's about sharing something that we've built, created with a global community. And I think even kids being able to go onto a website that the whole world can access and see their work up there is pretty amazing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a key thing to keep in mind, that this isn't a competition. Yeah, there's judges' favourites and there's some medals and prizes and things available, but it's more about sharing and celebrating learning and student projects and innovation in digital technologies and in STEM than it is about a competition and trying to win awards and things like that. It's about celebrating learning, which is key thing, using the term showcase than competition.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to share?
Look, I think I've pretty much covered everything, but I'm more than happy to, if anyone wants to reach out, I'm happy for my details to be shared. If anyone wants to send me an email, more than happy to give some feedback and support to anyone. Lots more people from Code Club Australia submitting projects, sharing projects this year.
Me too. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what your kids come up with. I'm so excited. I think I spent quite a number of hours last year scrolling through the website and checking out the projects, even before the award process came through. So it's so amazing. Like, kids are just so inspiring. They think creatively and differently, and I would never come up with any of that. Thank you so much for sharing today, and thank you for the offer of support for others. I'm sure it will greatly appreciated.
That's no problem at all. Happy to help out.